We're going to look now at a story problem where we need to figure out where we need to use multiplication or division. Now, the class has been asked to work out how much time it will need in the painting booth to finish a poster for the school competition. Now, there are 8 students who think that they would be fine if they were allowed 15 minutes each. Only one student can use the painting booth at a time. So what that means is we have to add up all of their times. How much time should the teacher make a booking for? Well, that's where the total's important. We want the total time because they can only go in there one at a time. Now, what do we know that can help us work out our total? Let's have a look. We've got 8 students, so each of them have to have a turn in the photo booth. So there's 8 of something, and each of those people has 15 minutes. So there's 8 blocks of 15 minutes time. So what we can do is work out 8 and multiply it by 15 to get the total number of minutes. Now, how can we work out 8 multiplied by 15? Well, 15 is the same as 10 plus 5. And we're allowed to actually work out that as 8 multiplied by 10 plus 8 multiplied by 5. That's actually a rule that works. And if you're not sure, you could test it with a few different numbers. Now we've got 8 multiplied by 10, which is 80, and 8 multiplied by 5, well, that's half of 10, so 8 5s are 40, which is half of 80. And when we add them up, I'm going to think of that as 8 tens plus 4 tens, and that's 12 tens, or 120. That's not the only way you could add those up. You might think of another way that you use. Now, the question, what we have to do is always go back to the question to see if we've got everything we need. How much time should the teacher make a booking for? Now that's important because we actually need to write minutes next to our answer. Our answer is 120 minutes. So always look for those words as well. Now sometimes you might think of a different way to multiply something like 8 multiplied by 15 minutes. Well, 15 minutes is actually a quarter of an hour. So 4 lots of a quarter of an hour equals 1 hour, which means 8 lots of a quarter of an hour equals 2 hours. And then you can actually work that out back to minutes. 2 hours is 2 lots of 60 minutes, so 120 minutes. So be on the lookout for things that help you work out multiplication that may rely on things you know from other things. Now, what if the problem was turned around and multiplication wasn't used? The class have just been advised that they can use the photo booth for 120 minutes, which is what they wanted. But the problem is there are now 10 students who need to complete their work. How much time can they each have? They may not get that 15 minutes now. This time we actually know the total number of minutes. The teacher booked that amount, so that's what they have now to work with. They can't change it. We've got 120 minutes, and we actually need to share that now among our 10 students. So this time we need to divide. We've got the total, and we're dividing into groups. Well, let's think of each student as a group. So 120 divided by 10 tells us how many minutes they can have each. Now, 120 is 12 tens. And if we're dividing by 10, that means we get 12 as our answer. So each student can actually have 12 minutes in the photo booth now, not 15, because there's more students.